Okay, part two. So, I'm sorry if I'm a little passionate today. You know, there's people that I've been talking to for months now, quite often daily. And I find that we're still having the same conversations that we were having in, November and December. Now, remember, I think I shared with you before, one of my pet peeves is when people ask me the same questions over and over again and they're not listening to the answer. And I've let this go to the best of my ability. But I feel like if there's something that you know you needed to do in December, why are you still anguishing over it in March? Why will you still be anguishing over it in July or September or December? At some point, you have to draw the line. The word decide comes from the same root word as incision in Latin. It means to cut off. To cut off all other options. To decide this is how it's going to be and I am going to go after it. Okay? It may be you have to decide I am going to be a Wall Street stockbroker. I'm going to have an income of $100,000 a year. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know where it's going to come from, but that is what it's going to be. That is what I demand from this life. Because Tony Robbins says this all the time. You don't get what you want, you get what you demand. If you will accept absolutely nothing less, then that's what will come into your life. But do this. You owe it to yourself. If you can't, listen to me, if you cannot decide what you want, if you cannot decide what makes you happy, then who can? I can't decide for you. Neither can anyone else. And if you refuse to choose, if you refuse to decide what your bliss is, you know what's going to happen? Somebody else will decide. And they're going to decide to follow their bliss. So if you got a husband or a wife that doesn't listen to you, or always does what they want and ignores you and kind of tramples all over your wishes, that's why, okay? You have to decide what you want. What does life mean to you, okay? Now, I think you know, I believe in reincarnation. This is true. But I only have this one chance to be me. I only have this one chance to have this particular skill set, this particular outlook, this particular worldview, this particular body type, face, voice, to live in this country, with this health, right? And I have to make the absolute best that I can out of this life. And there is no point in giving that up to anybody else. There's no point in giving your power away. For what? What's it getting you? Honestly, what's it getting you? Now, I apologize if I'm a little wound up. I'm not going to tell you when I recorded this, but I just had this exact conversation with 4 people simultaneously. 4 people simultaneously. Then I'm just like, what's the problem? What's the problem? I know it's scary. It's scary. Life is scary. Anybody who's never been afraid, anybody who's never failed, is a person that never tried anything worth doing. Okay? I mean, if you want to just go and be a bump on a log and, I don't know, make fries at McDonald's for the rest of your life and live in your mother's basement, then yeah, you probably will have a life that's free from failure. Oh, wait. No, you won't. Your life would be failure. Sorry if you work the fries and live in your mom's basement, but you can make a plan to do more. At least try and own the McDonald's, okay? Now, there are some people who, your career is not a big deal to them. And I've said many times, you are not what you do. You are not what you do. You are not valuable because of what you do. You're valuable because of who you are. And if you are truly, truly, truly happy working the fries at McDonald's and just making enough money that you can go camping all weekend, great. That is fine. Follow your bliss. It's not for me or anybody else to judge whether or not that should be your bliss, as long as it's your bliss. What I'm saying is, follow your bliss. Follow it. Follow it, follow it, follow it. Follow your bliss. It doesn't matter if you're in school because everybody told you should go to school. Maybe you shouldn't, right? I mean, I've got a degree in English. I'm glad that I went to college because I'm glad I had the experience of being exposed to new people and new ideas, and it was a great transitional point from being in high school to being a full-blown adult, right? But You don't need a degree in order to accomplish things in this world. You can, honestly, you can teach yourself most anything with a little bit of dedication and some time at the library. You may need to pass some tests to get certified or whatever, but you can start a business doing almost anything. Think about it this way, if there was a direct connection between education and achievement, then teachers and librarians would be the wealthiest people in the world. And they're not. Okay? Action. Action. Action, action, action. You owe it to yourself to choose, to decide, okay? Decide, what is it going to be? Am I willing to stay in this relationship? Now, let's talk a little more focus about relationships. You have to decide what you want. And then you have to decide, can this person give it to me? And then you have to decide, how long are you willing to wait for that to happen? And don't tell them. We've talked about this before. If you tell them, it's like an ultimatum. But like Popeye said, it's all you can stand and you can't stand no more. It's like, if he's still mean to me, if he's still going out drinking all night without calling, in 2 months, I'm out the door. And it's a promise you make to yourself. Okay? That's what integrity is, by the way. Integrity is keeping the promises you keep to yourself. Keeping the promises you make to yourself. When you tell yourself that you're going to do something, do it. Okay? Now, there's different types of people in this world. If telling everybody what you plan to do will help keep you accountable, then do that. But if telling everybody what you intend to do is going to make you feel weird and pressured, then don't. Just make a decision in your own mind that if she is still, running around and not really giving me the time of day 30 days from now, then I'm going to stop calling her. Decide that. Stop giving your power away to someone else, okay? Stop giving it away. Take it, use it, and apply it. And I can tell you, you're not going to die alone. You're not going to die alone. Look me in the eye. You are not going to die alone. You're going to have me no matter what. And there's lots of guys, there's lots of women out there that would love you. You are their dream. They have a picture of you in their mind, and they're trying to find you, and they can't find you. And you know why they can't find you? Because you're stuck in a relationship with the wrong person. That's why they can't find you. I mean, I don't mean to be mean to you today. I'm sorry. I love you. You know I love you. But I've been gentle and tiptoed around this for, 29 other episodes. And some people, you might be getting it, but some people still aren't quite getting it. So, I'm going to tell you a useful trick you can use here. It's something called the Ben Franklin balance sheet. I'm sorry, we got Paul in here in LA, so I'm all like, sorry, I apologize. It's called the Ben Franklin balance sheet. And the way it works is like this. Any decision that you have to make, I'm going to give you two things. Any decision that you have to make, you take a piece of paper, you split it down to half. On one side, you say pros. On the other side, you say cons. And you write across the top, should I get a new job? Should I leave my boyfriend? Should I move out of this house? Whatever it is. One question across the top. And on the left, you write every reason you should. On the right, you write every reason that you shouldn't. And for the record, anything that's fear-based, like I don't know what's going to happen, is a bad reason. Okay? Because nobody knows what's going to happen. What's going to happen is what you make happen. That's where the law of attraction comes in. That's where hard work comes in. And honestly, that's where luck comes in. But what's going to happen is what you make happen. But, okay, on the left, all the reasons for. On the right, all the reasons against. Write it all out. When you get to the end, either the pro column is going to be more or the con column is going to be more. And there's your answer. There's your answer. Stop dawdling. Do it. Follow it. Put it into effect. If you don't know how, ask me. I help you. Find me on Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, B-Dave Walters. Especially on Facebook. I'm always there. And the other thing is something called the 20 idea method. This is something that I learned from Brian Tracy, who I think learned from Earl Nightingale. If you have a problem that you don't know how to solve it, sit down and write 20 ways to do it. Give yourself 20 ideas. And don't stop writing until you come up with 20. The first 5 or 10 are going to come pretty easily. The last few are going to be hard. But don't stop till you get 20. Write crazy things, like the exact opposite. Things that can't possibly work. It doesn't matter. Till you come up with 20 ideas. And believe it or not, you'll come up with some pretty good ones. And if you really want to turbocharge this, once you've got the solution out of those 20, take that and do 20 ideas on that. Okay? Write it again. I'm almost out of time. I love you. You're fantastic. Just choose. Take the time. Choose. It's heads or tails. Do it and get after it. We're through the first quarter. We got to get busy. I love you. Bye-bye.